Heartbeat Alaska.
Bringing you national and international Native news, this is award-winning Heartbeat Alaska, the premier Native voice in Native programming.
There's a heartbeat, louder than thunder, revolution is in the air. There's a heartbeat deep inside our mother. Are you too cool to care?
Now, with Heartbeat Alaska, here's Jeannie Green.
Hello, welcome to Heartbeat Alaska, Native News and Native Entertainment. Today, we travel down the mighty Yukon River, thanks to video sent to us from Mary Solomon. Mary lives in Fort Yukon, Alaska. Also, Donna Kowalski from Seward, Alaska, contributed video on the Mille Ojibwe in the lower 48. We have Native American and Canadian Native music as well. Gary Fife's up next with Native News Across the Nation. I'm Jeannie Green, and I'll be back in just a moment.
Once so clever, never speak too soon. You, one who knows better, to be sliding in and out of the room. With your friends close, your enemies closer. Careful now, not to force her. There's a heartbeat, louder than thunder. Revolution is in the air. There's a heartbeat deep inside our mother. Are you too cool?
This is Native News Across the Nation. I'm Gary Fife. On both sides of Capitol Hill, there's movement to place limits on the powers of tribal governments across Native America. On the Senate side, Washington Senator Slade Gordon is continuing his push to halt the practice of placing off-reservation lands in trust for tribes. He says it takes lands off tax rolls, and it's allowed tribal projects such as Casino to proceed over opposition from local governments. On the House side, Oklahoma Congressman Ernest Istook is backing an amendment to the Interior Department Appropriations Bill. It would require tribes to agree to make payments in lieu of taxes before a land trust deal could proceed. It began as an office skills training center for the urban Native population of Minneapolis, Minnesota, but now its most recent graduates have been blackjack dealers for tribal casinos. The American Indian Opportunities Industrialization Center was opened as a project run by members of the activist American Indian movement, but since it began training card dealers in 1991, it has graduated 550 dealers for tribal casinos. Problems with poor health continue to plague the popular former chief of the Cherokee Nation, Wilma Mankiller, but latest reports say she won't give in. Mankiller has been in and out of hospitals with problems stemming from a kidney transplant rejection and cancer.
Columbus stumbled on.
But daughters say she has been responding well to treatment at Boston's Deaconess Hospital, and she loves the public outpouring of sentiment and of support. Organizers are gearing up for this year's Native American Film Showcase. The 21st Annual American Indian Film Festival is set for San Francisco again this year. This year's festival begins November 7th with films running through the 17th. Highlights of the festival include the presentation of its awards to the Best Native Films and Best Native Filmmakers. And finally, a Laguna Pueblo man who raises his own garden vegetables is having some impact on the health and diet of the native people in Winslow, Arizona. Lonnie Lewis is trying to get more local natives more interested in raising their own gardens as one way to fight the effects of diabetes among tribes there. He says he succeeded in raising the numbers of native gardeners and in convincing them of the need for healthy diets and for exercise. If you have news about your your tribe, your group, or an event coming up, please share it with us. This is Native News Across the Nation. I'm Gary Fife, and back to Jeannie Green and more Heartbeat Alaska.
Do you know a Native American?
Maybe you rode one lately.
Maybe you drank one last night.
Seen one on the Late Late Show?
Cheered for one lately?
Maybe you've been to a sweat.
Smoke 'em peace pipe.
Come on, man, times have changed.
Free your mind.
Welcome to Heartbeat, Alaska.
The Yukon River's headwaters begin in Canada. The river flows through the state of Alaska and empties into the Bering Sea. In a way, it's a river of life. The fish feed families along the shores. And along those shores, you can find fish camps. Today, we visit another camp. It's called a spiritual camp.
In the sweet by and by, we shall meet on that beautiful shore. In the sweet by and by, we shall meet on that beautiful shore.
Since 1989, they've been meeting on the banks of the Yukon River. Youth Survivors began as a 5-year pilot program, began by Rural CAP, Rural Alaska Community Action Program. Aimed at youth at risk, this camp has since been continued by the Fort Yukon Native Village. Teaching traditional values and spirituality is a focus of this camp. The youth fish, build cabins, and fish wheels. The setting is familiar to natives. Fish camps have been a native tradition for thousands of years.
Everything was off the land. We had no pop, we had no chips. For fruit, we had lots of berries.
And fish. Around June of every year, when the ice is gone and king salmon start running, natives pack their bags, load up their boat, and head out to fish camp. Youth Survivors Camp is open all summer. It's located 6 miles downriver from the village of Fort Yukon. Great-grandfathers of these youth carry on their tradition through elders like 84-year-old David Sam. He demonstrated the old ways, like using a rain stopper, a method ancestors used to chase the clouds away. How their forefathers killed grizzlies.
Bears just come down for us here. You know, like this. They'll never come down. If you slide down, it's just going to bite you. So it's just protection, you know.
And what the arrows feel and look like. All handmade from the memory of David Salmon.
I may ask you.
Traveling to camp, a way of life for many Alaska natives, a means of survival, food for the winter. For these native youths, it's food for the soul. Let's travel now to the lower 48. and learn about the Mille Ojibwe. Compliments a video from Donna Kowalski from Seward, Alaska, who visited there recently.
Anishinaabe, the Ojibwe word for Indian. Translated, Anishinaabe means original man, spontaneous man.
Everything to the Indian is sacred. Even the trees. If somebody would think about where did all this stuff come from that you see out here, the grass and the water and the trees, where did that come from? If you stop to think about these things, you would understand what the Indian is all about. It's the creators knowing that you created this stuff and so people can survive on the earth.
You know, the Great Spirit put everything here for a purpose. And we were put here for that same purpose, to complete the circle of things that were meant to be.
In the beginning, the earth was new, and tribal people reigned supreme in North America. The Ojibwe Anishinaabe originated on the eastern seaboard. According to oral tradition, some 500 years ago, the Ojibwe, also known as the Chippewa, migrated west along the St. Lawrence River. They established their villages in places where present-day Montreal, Detroit, and Sault Ste. Marie are located. In the late 1600s, the Ojibwe people split into two groups. One group moved north into Canada. The larger group, including the Mille people, moved along the south shore of Lake Superior to the northern sections of what is now called Wisconsin and Minnesota. It wasn't long before the Ojibwe Anishinaabe encountered the white man for the first time. Only 80 years after they roamed the entire northern half of Minnesota, the Ojibwe Anishinaabe had become a landless people in their own land. They had faithfully trusted all the federal government treaties, and they had never gone to war with the white man.
This was the policy of assimilation. The fact that people were removed from their own native cultures and sent to boarding schools.
When we went to boarding school, and these people tried to take away our language, I think I got maybe angry and maybe carry that anger with me yet. Because maybe some way back in my feeble mind, there's a thing back there that says, teach these people and make these people know you can't take that language away from them.
In 1975, Mille Lacs reservation students walked out of their classes at a nearby public school. They were protesting racism on the part of some of their white teachers and fellow students.
The walkout happened because of a lot of, like what I said before, a lot of racial slurs going on. I think the Indian students were, I don't know, becoming more united. I think more be able to fight back. The outcome of it was good because it established the Nayashing School, the first tribally controlled school, I think, in the state of Minnesota.
Chairman Art Galbo helped open the Nayashing School on the reservation.
With the start of Nayashing School, it instilled a pride in the students today, where they're more in tune with their culture. They're more proud to be Indian, and I see that a lot with the younger generation today.
Culture to me is something that we believe in and do practice. If we can make all these kids learn the Ojibwe language back, and then maybe we can teach that culture to them. I've seen this thing go from one side to the other. You know, we sat in a circle with my aunt, her trying to teach us English. first thing that sticks in my mind, we were at her house, and she says, "Tuga be the notion of the teapot." I didn't even know what a teapot was, you know. She says, "Be the notion, hand me the teapot," and she had, you know. That's when I learned what a teapot was. I would say teapot in English. And so we sat there trying to learn some English words. Now we sit around and trying to teach Indian kids the Ojibwe language.
Art Gabo was one of our greatest leaders. I guess I'm saying that because I worked with Art ever since I was elected, and he had great visions for his people. Some of the things that I'm carrying on now are what Art dreamt.
Progress in making that dream happen was fairly slow until late in the 1980s. But in 1988, the federal government passed a law providing a powerful economic tool that would begin to fulfill Arthur Gaba's vision for the Mille Anishinaabe, the Federal Indian Gaming Act. In the next 5 years, the Mille Band opened casino businesses at Mille and Hinckley. Due to their enormous success, the Anishinaabe now have the economic strength to pursue self-government, self-determination, and self-sufficiency.
We're one of the first tribes to go into a self-governance compacting system with the Interior, Department of Interior, where prior to that, any money that was appropriated by Congress, only 11 cents out of that dollar got to the reservations. The other 89 cents went to the bloated bureaucracy. So we looked at that and we said, there's got to be a better system of providing services to our people. And we went that route, one of the 7 tribes nationwide to go that route. Right now, we're in our 4th year of compacting. We're getting 50 cents on a dollar, and we're striving for more. And the Bureau is fighting us every inch of the way because they know they have to downsize because we know how to provide those services to our people. I guess my priority is rebuilding our reservation and rebuilding and repurchasing our land back, upgrading our infrastructure. We need schools. We need to teach our children the language. Our language is being lost. State-of-the-art clinic that's going to be open here shortly. Housing, roads, wastewater treatment plants, daycare, ceremony buildings. By doing that, you're providing a future for our children.
The Mille people have turned away from reliance on state or federal programs. And in the last 5 years, unemployment on the reservation has fallen from 45% to near zero. Decreased dependence on the federal government is helping to restore pride in their culture. Band members are returning to live once again in their homelands. Lands which belonged to them long ago are being restored to their reservation.
I know my grandmother always, she always pushed me and saying that, you can do whatever you want. You can, and always be proud of who you are.
All we have to do is carry our culture, carry our language, and our traditions will come back.
sure of myself. I could catch alligators by myself, but my dog didn't know what my grandpa said. He jumped in the water by the gator's head. But the chubby didn't even pause. My dog disappeared in the gator's jaws. I can still hear my grandpa saying, but the chubby not to nitschkiga. But the chubby you can get one. But the chubby he no kajijiwa. But the chubby he majajiwa. But the chubby not to nitschkiga. But the chubby you can get one. But the chubby he no kajijiwa. But the chubby he majajiwa. Later, I remember that day, how that big bull gator swallowed my dog. Scars and pain haunts my life, but I've learned to live and I learned to survive. But the chubby not to nitschkiga. But the chubby open gajiwa. But the chubby no kajijiwa. But the chubby imajajiwa. But the chubby not to nitschkiga. But the chubby open gajiwa. But the chubby no
Heartbeat Alaska, your source of Native news and your source for Native information. If you'd like to contribute news to Heartbeat Alaska, simply give us a call collect, area code 907-563-7440. Fax us at 907-563-9309. Make sure you include a contact number so we can call you back or fax you back. Heartbeat Alaska is video sent in by viewers, and that's what makes this important. It's news from viewers, news about your village, news about your tribe, and whatever is important to you is important to us, and that means it's news. Please continue to tune in for more Heartbeat Alaska, more Native news. I'll be here. I'm Jeannie Green. We'll see you again. God bless you. Tune in again next week.